Hello and welcome to this week's edition of ELCAT News. I'm your host, Jen Carlos. At this week's Town Council meeting, a public hearing was held for residents to comment on the town manager's proposed FY20 operating budget.
I can also tell you, as we listen to your comments this evening, that the proposed budget is just that. No decision has been made, and I can say with almost certainty that my colleagues at this table absolutely understand that a $22.07 tax rate is a burden that is too difficult to bear for these taxpayers that sit before us, as well as those who may be watching or waiting to hear information.
Kathy, to say that we'd be unhappy with $22 per thousand is an understatement. We don't even have on the books yet, or in close proximity, a new high school, and that's coming. That's the first thing we need.
I would say that a lot of the town is asleep on this until they do get their tax bill. I got my tax bill, it went up $340. I don't know what changed. Now you're telling me you want to go to 2207, and I agree with the former speaker. We have a school coming up. There's big ticket items. We're going to give you our input, and then tell me the process. You're going to go back to this committee. You're going to take our input. How do we know, except if we come back next week, that there's going to be a change?
Regarding the town hall trailer mount generator, I'd argue that the town hall is the least important building to have power during emergency situations. Police, fire, and designated shelters like Bircham Park and this building are the only necessity. It's a lot of money to spend for something that will hopefully sit idle for most of its useful life.
I love this town. I don't want to leave it. I spent 29 years on the fire department, retiring as a deputy chief. I think it's time for the industry in town to pick up a bigger share of our taxes. And that's all I got to say.
But what I want to know is, what are we doing to create more people and businesses to want to come in our town? Do we have a program to try to lure businesses in, to get better taxes? And it's a double-edged sword. I don't think you can raise taxes and then expect the business to want to come in here.
I guess I just learned that the businesses pay the same tax rate as citizens, right? Why is that? That's outrageous. You should tax them a little bit more. I mean, I'm self-employed. I pay like a 15% rate. It's tax the businesses more, I mean, I understand we might want more businesses, but I question that rationale too. Why do we need more businesses in town? It's already congested. No, it's not Longmeadow, but increase taxes for the businesses so that we can all benefit and we can get a nice school for our kids and I don't have to send them to some private school.
Councilors then addressed several of the comments and questions raised by speakers.
There were two comments regarding consideration of a split tax rate. That those comments are noted, and it's certainly something the council will have to deliberate with our Board of Assessors when the time comes again.
Kathy,
Can I add something to that?
Kathy, yeah, go ahead.
I would encourage anyone to stop in the assessor's office. I did the same back when we were looking at this. They have great paperwork and great explanations on the pros and cons of both scenarios, but it's very well laid out and very easy to make a decision once you look at that paperwork.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. Sorry, through the chair, Kathy.
Yes.
So we've voted on that 3 times so far. And unfortunately, we don't hear much from the residents. They don't come to those meetings. But it's something that we do take into consideration. We hear from the people that have businesses in this community. They show up to that meeting. And if you raise their taxes, they're going to raise the cost of doing business to you in this town. There's lots of towns that have split rates. As long as I'm on this council, I won't vote for a split rate. And there's a lot of logic behind it. And I'm happy to sit down and have a discussion with anybody if you prefer. But we also have the chamber president who comes and presents at that meeting as well. So there's a lot of information that we've processed there, and I don't see any reason why you put undue burden on the town, on the businesses in town, because they'll pack up and leave. There's more to it than just a budget line item. And this is the worst part of my job, unequivocally. I stress about it like I know everyone else does. It basically consumes us. For the last 5 months, the last 3 months in particular, we're meeting almost weekly, and we don't take it lightly. So I know everyone's fixated on what they're hearing, and they're consuming information from the Facebook page, but nobody ever said that we were going to approve 100% of what was proposed. I think I can speak for myself. There's no chance that I would do that, and others probably feel the same. So it's going to be more than last year, but it'll definitely be less than what people are expecting it to be.
Earlier in Tuesday's meeting, Director of Public Health Amy Petrosky, alongside Board of Health members Karen Robitaille and Dr. Sarah Perez-McAdoo, gave an update on neglected properties, mosquito control, recycling, and more.
So we have a partnership with the Attorney General's office, which works with abandoned properties in town. That first document that you have is a list of residences to date that have been put into that program and the status of the property and the progress of which they took. The health department actively and aggressively addresses unmaintained properties, and we feel that using that bylaw would place an undue burden on the resident. The complaints that we do have most of them resolved within the first 10 days. Some of them do stretch out, and a lot of those are the ones that go into the program. It is a little bit longer to go through that, but we have a much better chance of long-term success in bringing that property back onto the tax payrolls and getting someone to move back into that property.
The town of East Longmeadow and Longmeadow applied for an efficiency and regionalization grant. We were awarded $55,000 to assist with the implementation of shared health services partnership, and this new funding is going to support the development of an intermunicipal agreement and a community health needs assessment that will help to inform operations and health services.
So overall, in the last 5 months, we're looking at a total of $30,000 saved from our trash bill, which, and then you extrapolate that out, we could be looking at, $50,000 to $70,000 annually. So we think that this has been a very successful program. We wanted to share some of that data with you. What you have goes into a lot more in depth than what I went right now. So if you have any questions.
I would encourage you, Amy, to get that up on the website, because that's incredibly positive news.
Okay. Separate, but it's all the same money that's already been appropriated. So the Mosquito Control District is looking for $5,000 for us to join, and that will cover all 36 traps, the sorting of the mosquitoes, the testing of mosquitoes, and it also gets us, if there were to be anything that happened in our community, it would get us emergency response from DPH.
Okay, in that case, I'll make a motion for the town of East Longmeadow to join the Pioneer Valley Mosquito Control District in order to continue its efforts to prevent the human impact from arboviruses such as West Nile virus and Eastern equine encephalitis in the community through surveillance and treatment of known breeding grounds.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the town of East Longmeadow joining the Pioneer Valley Mosquito Control District, please say aye.
Aye.
And Denise Menard reported on Tuesday that the town clerk's office has now moved to the town manager's suite.
The town clerk's office officially moved to the town manager's suite of offices on May 7th. Stop by and check it out. It looks like it's working well. Everybody's, figuring out where they all fit into the whole thing, but it really, it doesn't look bad. To those of you that have seen it, it seems to be working okay. They actually built another, like the desk that Marge had, they didn't build a whole desk, but a reception area so that all the applications and stuff that the town clerk does can be processed at their counter. It looks really nice.
On Wednesday, the Financial Oversight Committee discussed two of the school department requests that had been questioned at the budget hearing.
About how important we feel those added positions, especially the SEL, the social emotional teachers, are.
We're trying to address it as a district to be responsible to our students, to our staff, and this is how we feel we can do it.
And as an example, just to say, an out-of-district placement for this type of situation perhaps is about $50,000 for one child. If we were to get a teacher at $60,000, $70,000, it practically pays for if we were to keep one student in.
Right, but I mean, obviously,
these are known and certain costs that we will pay.
and you-
Versus,
Right.
that sounds good, but it's not in the budget anywhere that we're saving it.
Well,
That's the only
Actually,
difference.
our budget would be much larger if we didn't start already doing this. So what we're talking about, we already have experience, so we brought back our autism program into the system instead of farming kids out. We brought our learning skills program back into the system and our intensive needs program back into the system. So I can't give you an exact number, but we'd be coming with a much larger budget in special education if we did not bring back these programs instead of sending them to LBVC type of programs. So we already have experience doing this. As you can see, our whole dominance in this discussion has been on this SEL teachers, and we're asking for 2. You can see how important it is to us. We also see it as almost a public safety issue, that they are dealing with probably with the more at-risk students who can be prone to the most difficult behaviors.
The other thing I just mentioned, we talked so much last night about the tax rate. Is it conceivable that the tax rate is a little bit inflated right now to be safe? If the number last night was a 2197, would it have changed the conversation altogether? And could it truly now be a 2197? We're just being safe on it. And now, since the town is so healthy, I've been doing this now 11 years. This is the healthiest I've seen the town. There's a lot of years it's a lot thinner. This is a healthy situation for us. I would hate to not take advantage of a healthy situation just because of that number on a piece of paper last night. Scared everybody a little bit.
Well, the tax rate that's being promulgated is 2207 from the town manager's budget, which the current rate is $20.55. We have to recall that last year, everybody's value went up about 6%. So even though the rate dropped, people paid more in taxes. So we're coming off of that, people saw $400, $500, $600 increase, and now we're saying, okay, we're going to 2207. You're going up another $500 this year, possibly with the larger homes over $1,000. So I think that's why people are alarmed, those who are actually calculating and paying attention. So we're very mindful of that, and we're trying to think of creative ways to be able to reduce that number, because that's what people see. They see their tax bill.
So if you add up the 828 from Chapter 70 and Medicaid money for 250, it would more than fund what we're asking for. So in some ways, I can sum it up by saying that we don't need any town money. Give us the Chapter 70 money for this year, give us the Medicaid money for this year, and we're fine. I mean, this is a very unusual year to have that happen, that we can be funded completely for our increases with the Chapter 70 money and the Medicaid money.
On Friday, the committee was due to finish its discussions of line item budgets and requests for new positions.
Number 5, the clerk's position. Clerk requested a part-time clerk. The last discussion was to okay that for 6 months at a cost of $9,103.44.
I would move to recommend a 6-month position.
Yeah. Does anyone want to have further discussion on that? Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Immigration is a topic at the forefront of the national political conversation, but more importantly for some local communities, a reality with civic, humanitarian, and economic dimensions. Students at Birchland Park were challenged recently to consider those perspectives at a workshop that addressed the question of sanctuary cities. Here's a report produced by students at WGEM, the school's television station.
As the marking period comes to an end, the 8th grade civics classes launched a new service-based project for their class that allowed their students to be able to explore arguments for and against immigration through the exploration of a handful of essential questions. One question the students chose from was, should East Longmeadow become a sanctuary city?
Well, we had to just look up facts about sanctuary cities and whether they're good to have in our town or not.
Part of their project required them to speak with individuals who have an opinion on matters of immigration and could be involved in politics about immigration. Civics leaders from all around the area gathered in the library of Birchland Park, and students were able to interview them.
They ask hard questions because they're talking about the conversation in the country, sanctuary cities, immigration, and issues that impact all of us as a nation.
Through the exploration of this topic, students investigated what constitutes a sanctuary city, the process that a city must go through, comparative stats to other cities, and the impact the decision has on a city, its resources, its schools, etc.
I didn't know that this was such a serious topic in our country, and I think that immigration does play a big role in how we live life, I guess.
This is a question that might not be posed to these students for sanctuary cities. East Long Meadow is a different town than Springfield or West Springfield or Chicopee or Agawam. And to ask students a question that requires them to think outside the box and ask individuals such as a city council member or a director of student services questions about how East Long Meadow would be prepared to handle new undocumented individuals is huge. And it kind of makes them think, what is beyond East Long Meadow?
Through their work on this service project, the Birchland Park students gained an appreciation of the impact that immigration policies can have on a society in general, and its specific influence of our everyday lives. This has been Helena O'Connor reporting.
Students at Birchland Park also held their annual talent show last month. Here are some highlights.
Recently, Birchland Park Middle School students displayed some great skills at the school's annual talent show. The student council held auditions after school during March and April, and 17 acts were chosen for the evening performance. A variety of talents were showcased to an audience packed with family and friends. Performances included singers, dancers, musicians, gymnasts, and even a couple of comedy acts. Usually when people think about schools, they naturally think of books and classrooms. These students are not only excellent academically, but work hard at their other endeavors too. Students will continue to practice, and the student council is already preparing and looking forward to next year's talent show. This has been Shane Smith reporting.
Last Saturday was the Lions Club annual pancake breakfast. Proceeds benefited the EL Lions and the ELHS girls track team. On Saturday, June 1st is a summer kickoff event at Center Field.
Come join us on Saturday, June 1st, 2019 for the 125th anniversary kickoff summer event right here at Centerfield Park in East Long Meadow. We're going to have a DJ, food trucks, slip and slide, carnival games, silent auction, knockaball, and so much more, so make sure to come check us out. Come join us for the 125th anniversary milestone event. You won't regret it.
The town of East Long Meadow is seeking resident volunteers to serve as members or associate members on the following boards and committees: the Board of Library Trustees, Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Planning Board. For more information, visit eastlongmeadowma.gov. The Federal Trade Commission has received reports about scam calls in the area. Specifically targeting seniors, callers are pretending to be from the Social Security Administration, where they then try to get your Social Security number and even your money. Remember that the Social Security Administration will never call to ask for your Social Security number, nor ever ask you to pay for anything or threaten your benefits. That's it for this week's edition of ELCAT News. I'm Jen Carlos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.